Welcome back to the Rad Nauseam YouTube channel. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe. This video was taken directly from our Twitch streams. Join our Discord to find out when we're streaming. And a big thanks for 300 subscribers, it means a lot. Anyway, enjoy. With us today we have Brendan and Brookesy. I got a little story about Brookesy to introduce Brookesy and to give some context. So when I started playing Highlander, I started playing in OTJ. Around OTJ is when I started in the format, and I built a couple of decks. I played Reckless Midrange for a bit, and I didn't really like the way that played. I played like a Grixis Welder deck as well, and I liked the idea of taking game actions and just artifacts in general. And I came to JD at Plenty of Games, and I said to JD, I want to play a Tillarian Academy deck. Something like, you know, the Draw 7 deck, that was, you know, that Isaac was playing at the time. You know, should I pick up the Draw 7 deck? And at JD, they were like, look, the Draw 7 deck is like super expensive. You need to buy, you know, a Candelabra, which at the time was $800. And then you need to buy the, you know, eventually the best version of the deck plays Time Twister, which is a, you know, $20,000 plus card. It's like one of the most expensive pieces of power. They were just like, don't play that deck. That deck sucks if you don't have all the best cards. I have a friend that you should message on Discord. They're playing his food deck. And go message them. Their name is Pants or Brookesy, and go hassle them about food. And so Brookesy at the time was fighting the good fight, playing food. I think Brookesy, you said you brewed it when Lord of the Rings came out because we got so much support from there. And yet from that point onwards, I saved up food, and we've been playing it on and off ever since. Brookesy, tell me about the early iterations of this deck before I jumped in, and you know, what did you do with this deck? How long had you been playing it? Everything about it.
Yeah, thank you for the intro. That's very kind of you. So yeah, I think I had been playing Highlander for a few years before the Lord of the Rings set came out, and then I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, and then I saw all the food support, and I was like, I wonder if there is something here. And so I went to work, and there was a couple of good combos that came out shortly thereafter with the printing of the confectioner. For those that don't know, I'm sure you'll bring up the two cards in question, and then from there it just kind of, I don't know, it felt fun, it felt different, and I enjoyed the concept of having something that was kind of, not just, at the time, I think it was just, Grixis everywhere again, and yeah, it was just something different and fun, and something that I could kind of build that was, my own, I guess, which was fun.
Yeah, this deck is very interesting, and the big draw for me is what you said. It's the deck is largely unknown. I'm just gonna talk about Magic without being distracted by music. The draw of this deck was the fact that a lot of people don't really see, they don't see the deck often enough to know about it, and. Yeah, like at the event to end all events, it felt like my opponents were playing with this kind of like veil over their head of like they couldn't see my lines. When you play 100%. Against Storm, I've played against Storm so many times. I know the line they're going for. I know how they're going to beat me. I can pretty much pick up my cards as soon as they cast the first spell to pick up that line. But against other players, I can play out the turn 3 Peregrine Took, and then the turn 4 Nuka-Cola Vending Machine, activate it, make 2 foods. Now I have 3. Do I win the game? And I can do that. And then they'll be like, "Wow, I should have tapped out." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know what you were doing, but
you'll know for next time."
Yeah, exactly. And then they walk away going, "Wow, I really should have known about that combo." And now they know. But yeah, that kind of brewer's advantage is very cool. Unless you play against somebody else exactly who plays food, which in that case we both knew the cards. There's going to be no card reading going on in these games, which is fun. But we're looking at the moment Abzan food. As many people know, I played the Bant at the event to end all events, but Abzan is just as good. Brookesy, tell me about your deck. There's some very cool includes here.
Yeah, so I think it's definitely trying to leverage the fact that food tokens are artifacts, and there's definitely a lot of artifact strategies with the Metalcraft, with Mox Opal, trying to go quicker, trying to get some advantage there. I decided to, obviously because this was a, you could play whatever card you wanted. You could proxy anything. So slipped in a little fake Mox Emerald in there, which would, normally not be present. But the Mox Emeralds with all of the green pips, in the deck, definitely felt great. There's a lot of really strong cards like Banquet Guests, which really leverage the fact that you can make a couple of food tokens and then all of a sudden you've got an 8/8, trampler with its own inbuilt protection, which is insane. You can gum up the board with Springheart, with the Grist as well. It's got some life gain synergies. It can actually kill with Sorin as well, which is a card that from Modern Horizons 3 that people haven't really seen very much, which is strange because we're all seeing Ajani everywhere and Tamio everywhere. But Sorin has not seen anything anywhere, apart from maybe Ral. The only two that don't really see any play. And then, it's got a decent suite of removal. It's got a little bit of interaction with Misstep. It's got some powerful cards like the Ring. A couple of new additions in, Campsite Cuisine and Obsessive Pursuit. Which both felt really good.
Sorry to cut you off. Let's talk about Campsite Cuisine real quick. If you want to just give us the rundown on this card, because a lot of people have never seen this card before. Brookesy, tell me about Campsite Cuisine. I've got it on the screen.
Yeah. So Campsite Cuisine, so whenever this enchantment or a legendary creature you control enters, create a food token. Great. Whenever you attack, you may sacrifice X foods. When you do, up to X target attacking creatures each get +3/+3, gain trample and indestructible until end of turn. There's a decent amount of legend support in this deck. Probably half of the creatures are legends, but just the fact that it comes in, turns all of your foods into this, insane overrun. Especially combined with something like Farmer Cotton, which is the classic dump all your mana into this, little guy that makes, little 1/1s and doesn't really do much. It really is an insane finisher for the food deck, which we haven't had previously. Not at such a low mana value as well. Only 2 mana for that, which is insane.
Back in my day, that overrun effect that you would get out of that, what's that 4-mana enchantment that makes your foods tap for green? The Knight of Sweet's Revenge? Yeah, I'll get it on the screen. Yeah. This is the overrun effect we had to play, to really get over the line, and that's so much mana. And now we just have Campsite Cuisine, which just does the thing, and it just makes foods, itself. What?
The trample and indestructible as well is just so good. So good.
Yeah.
You can attack freely, you slap it on an Ocelot Pride, you don't care, you swing it in there, you get some life. It's insane.
Now tell me about Obsessive Pursuit, which I now have on the screen. This is just from Avatar The Last Airbender, so this is an interesting one. It doesn't make foods, but it does kind of, if you squint hard enough, it does what we want, which is a 2-mana thing that makes game objects and then has additional text, right?
100%, yes. Makes a clue on ETB, you lose a life, and whenever you attack, put X 1/1 counters on target attacking creature, where X is the number of permanents you've sacrificed this turn. So that includes your fetch lands, includes sacking your foods, making, using treasures, etc. And then if X is 3 or greater, that creature also gains lifelink. So again, it's just an incredible way to create objects, like you said, which can be leveraged with, pretty much all of our cards. The fact that it gives you this ability to turn even, the lowliest of creature, Gilded Goose, into, a 3/3, a 3/5 or a 4/6 or whatever it is. You can just bash in with a goose now. Nobody was aware if the goose could have that power.
Yeah, no, the goose comes up a lot. Even just the exalted trigger on the goose to get in for one is so common. Another question for you as well. There's another new, not a new include. It did come out in OTJ, Rottenmouth Viper. This is a card that the Food Discord has been sending to each other and discussing for a long time, and you finally sleeved it up. Tell me about Rottenmouth Viper.
Yeah. So Viper is just another finisher, kind of similar to campsite cuisine. It's this big, hard to remove threat. Outside of swords or counter spells, I guess. But it's like a huge 6/6 beater that can really dominate a board if it gets in. And with all of the additional permanents that we have laying around, it's one of those things that can definitely come out on turn 3. Even sometimes turn. Well, yeah, probably turn 3 is probably the earliest you could get it out reasonably. But it's just an insane beater. I'm playing Urza's Saga, so I thought, throw in Lava Spur boots as well for the construct, combat for the second one that you make. And, with boots as well, Rottenmouth Viper becomes like a, good card into an insane card when you're getting 3 of these blight counters or 2 of the blight counters on the swing as well.
Yep. I'm glad you talked about Lava Spur boots, because that kind of hedges the difference between my deck and your deck, which is your deck is trying to win most of the time via combat damage. I'm also doing that. But kind of Lava Spur boots is that key card between the two decks where I'm not playing Lava Spur boots, I'm playing, the Candelabra in that slot. And you're playing Lava Spur boots. So there's a very stark difference in the difference of our decks. And you're playing Abzan Midrange, which is a very cool version of the list. I do love the Ocelot Pride and the Mox Emerald. I do find that Abzan kind of, it yearns for that, like, a card that could be that 7th point. Like sometimes we're playing Skull Clamp, and it's a bit like, feels weird playing the Skull Clamp at times, because you're like, this isn't a food card. I understand why it's in the deck, but, I would rather play another. So that kind of Mox Emerald is now a 2-point card, which is Mox. Like, what are we doing here? But yeah, this is this is an interesting deck, and this is, of course, the mid-range version of decks. Any final notes before we jump over to my version?
I think the amazing power of Astrid for both decks is obviously something that we know it's probably the best card in the deck almost. She is an absolute house. The difference, I guess, between our decks is that, I can suit up Astrid and make her an absolute monster. And, you may only be able to attack in once, generate that extra food, and then she maybe dies in combat or something. But, if I can keep Astrid alive and keep her swinging turn after turn and generating value and, exploring, that's insane.
Yeah, Astrid for me is the kind of the best 2-mana make a food card. And then the Explore trigger is kind of like some extra seasoning on top of my combo to help me get through my deck, Like when I'm doing like a Cauldron Familiar Loop, but I have to pay the mana for it, when it's in that situation, Astrid Peth just lets me tear through my deck, or Astrid Peth just creates the game objects I need later in the game to combo off. And yeah, you're right, she often doesn't get big, but there is definitely value in just like eating foods and making her large. I'd say that Astrid Peth and Obsessive Pursuit are like 2 exceptional combos, because Astrid Peth does say clue or food, which a lot of people miss. And that just means you can just be like, okay, turn 3, I'm going to play my Obsessive Pursuit, attack, make a clue, attack with Astrid, make a food. You now have 2 foods and a clue in play. You play a Tolarian Academy from hand, and you eat a clue, and she gets bigger. You've drawn a card, you've replaced Astrid Peth already if they remove it, and you've explored, so you get that kind of selection. Yeah, sick card. I like the kind of trio of Abzan of Astrid Peth for white, Campsite Cuisine for your green, and Obsessive Pursuit for your black is why we look so happily at Abzan. But we are going to jump over to my version of the deck, which is also Abzan. Here it is. So like we said, there's some differences in our deck. Mine is what I would call Abzan a food combo, perhaps. Balti has recently been doing some brewing in the food space, and she decided that this version of the deck would try and win mostly by not attacking. There is obviously times where you do attack and you're able to out mid-range your opponent. That is just, symptomatic of playing a deck like this that has the ability to go over the top of the opponent. But this this version of the deck is definitely more suited into the combo stuff like Fast Bond, Scavenger's Talent. I'm just gonna get Scavenger's Talent on the screen because Scavenger's Talent is an interesting card. But yeah, like it's kind of like Scavenger's Talent. When you read it, you're just like, oh yeah, whenever I clamp up a food, it makes it. Whenever I clamp up a cat, it makes up a food. But the ability to, whenever I sacrifice a permanent, to have target player mill 2 cards, that is just a win condition with Peregrine Took and Experimental Confectioner. It just means, when you draw your deck on the same turn, if I have this in play, I'll just mill you out completely. Which is very cool, and also it has extra text as well, that final line of text that allows you to sack 3 foods, then return a creature from your graveyard. It just allows you to kind of jump into your graveyard more and pull cards out of it, which is something that food doesn't do often. But yeah, this deck, the difference I think between your deck and my deck is your deck's playing Ocelot Pride, Guide of Souls, Voice of Victory, and my deck's playing Cat and Umbral Collar Zealot, which I'll get on the screen. What do you think about food combo, Brooksy?
Yeah, a lot more dorks, and obviously with the printing of Badger Mole, that makes them a lot more powerful. And yeah, you're a lot kind of you're definitely trying to leverage the 4-drops more, I guess, to get that insane power swing. Bright Glass is an absolute house. It obviously can just grab some of the best cards in your deck, like Urza Saga, or it can just get most of your combo as well, which is insane.
Yep.
I mean, there's cards here that people probably have never seen. Like Vine Reap Mentor.
Vine Reap Mentor is in both of our decks too.
Both played.
We both registered Vine Reap Mentor. Yep.
It's just an insane card. Like it just does everything that we want. It kind of like it does trade really well. And you're not afraid to just throw it into the fire and let it kind of take a hit for the team or block a Barragoy for whatever you need to do. It's great. And yeah, just going back to the Scavenger's Talent, it's such a low mana investment to get a possible food every time that something dies. It's just that they now have to think about, well, do I really want to give them that death trigger to get that extra food, like when they've got the Tolarian Academy out? Like I can't be doing that sometimes. But yeah, cards, you obviously got Green Suns to get most of the combo pieces. Lively Dirge is a new one that we've been talking about a bit over the last probably 2-3 weeks. I think by memory you said that it went really, really well on the day. And yeah, I'd always kind of thought about having that in a more combo centric version of the deck, just because it just does a lot of the things that you want to be doing if you're on the cat Sam sacrifice combo as well.
Yeah, no, you're right. This Lively Dirge has been great. This is an OTJ card, I think, and it's just an uncommon from OTJ, but it is essentially it entombs your cat and then lets you bring back your Samwise. Is usually the game plan, right? It's like you stick out your Umbral Collar Zealot or something, or you have one of the pieces, and this just goes and gets the third piece and brings back that second piece. People quite often just like kill Samwise on site. People usually kill Umbral Collar Zealot on site, and the ability to just go and get stuff back. But it's also just a 5 mana Bright Glass. Often you go into Bright Glass and then you just bring it back, and that's it. You go get Bright Glass, bring it back. You have a 5 mana Bright Glass that costs you one black pip, and then you can go and get your your Urza Saga or even your Scavenger's Talent at times. I would just go get Scavenger's Talent and Skull Clamp and just be like, hey, you have to work this one out because I'm about to make a food and draw 2 cards every turn. Things like that is why Lively Dirge has been super interesting. And we even have the Savine's Reclamation in there, which is almost similar to Lively Dirge. I was really trying to play into the graveyard a bit more with Lively Dirge. Previously, Volty was playing the Crucible of Worlds Fastbond combo with Zero, but I just found those cards are a little bit dead in hand. And Fastbond sometimes is quite bad, but Fastbond, it does facilitate the Peregrine Took Experimental Confectioner combo to allow for the same turn kill. It's something that Bant can do with Kappa Cannoneer, but Abzan usually struggles unless you have the pips to play, out your Marionette Apprentice or something. So Fastbond is a good card. And we might even see it come up I feel like we've talked about the food enough. Maybe it's time we actually watch our game. Unless you have anything else you want to talk about.
Spoilers. No, I think you summed up really well. The shifting woodland, is another different card. I'm definitely not playing that. But yeah, it works really, really well in your deck. Obviously, if you can get back fast bond or like even like a candle or something like that they've dealt with earlier. Yeah, it's a sweet deck. Tolarian Academy is a house, and you've got enough. You've got enough. I guess non-pip mana to dump into some of these insane spells like Savine's Reclamation and Lively Dirge.
Yeah, you're right. Tolarian Academy in Abzan felt exceptional. Like, you don't need the blue pips. It just yeah, you're right. The deck is crafted in a way where you don't really need to use those pips for anything. Like Skull Clamp activation, no pips. Candelabra to like putting 10 mana into your candle and untapping all 6 lands, including the Academy. Usually you're just untapping the single Academy, but yeah. Brett Almighty said food looks so fun. I'm always intimidated by having to buy a cradle. Yeah, but I would always just say, our event here was proxy friendly. Maybe just try like proxying up the deck and playing with a friend, or asking to borrow one is always good. I know that people tend to be quite happy to loan cards. This deck is very fun to play, and we're about to jump into a game. It's
really cheap too, I think, apart from the cradle.
And potentially Candelabra. I do just want to compare like the deck building philosophies between the two versions of food. Just having a browse of the list, I can see Brookesy, your version feels like it's a lot more comfortable playing that longer game. You've got a lot of on the board interaction with your Dismember, like Decay in the main board, Fatal Push and all of that. Whereas I see in your combo list, Capers, that it's more hand attacky and protecting your combo, so to speak. So I think there's a big sort of, proactive versus reactive philosophy there, which will be good to see play out on the board.
Yeah, you're right. I think, yeah, absolutely. Brookesy also on Mother of Runes, right? Is that correct?
No Mother today.
Oh, Brookesy.
But I think it's definitely the right choice in your deck to protect the combo pieces. And obviously you've got what's the 4-mana card?
Hazel's Brewmaster. I've got it on the screen in a second. This card is a banger.
Yeah. I would definitely be playing Hazel or Hazel's Brewmaster if I had more creatures that actually had really strong activated abilities, like Mum and Giver.
Yeah.
But yeah, just having Goose, and Deathrite Shaman, which is obviously, insane. But just having those two as hits in my deck means that it's not really, an insane card, I guess. It's, it's the 4-mana version of Astrid Peth, but it's still a house. I mean, if you can hit the Mum or Giver, I've definitely had games where it just turns into this absolute insane card.
Yeah, well, Lively Dirge is also interesting with Hazel's Brewmaster because you can, if Hazel's Brewmaster is in the graveyard, you can entomb your Grist and then bring back Hazel's Brewmaster and then another card. Or just Hazel's Brewmaster, sorry, because it's 4 mana only. But you can bring back Hazel's Brewmaster, which then on ETB exiles Grist and allows your food tokens to make insects. So each food token can uptick as if it was Grist. And if you have Peregrine Token play, every time you make that insect, you also make a food, which can then straight away activate. And then you have infinite insects. So just another combo in there that Hazel's Brewmaster facilitates. And then, yeah, I agree. Turning all of your foods into Mother of Runes, you usually just win any mid-range game from that point onwards. Because you just can't... Like, one Mother of Runes is really hard to beat, but you usually just stack 2 removal spells up, and you can just be like, okay, I'm going to kill your mum, and now I can attack and block freely. When you have 6 Mother of Runes in play, your opponent can just never attack you, and they can never block you either. You just get to control the board forever. It's just... There's, like, no window where you have 6 removal spells in your hand. I mean, unless you're playing some type of control deck. Yeah, I mean, Hazel's Brewmaster is great, and it's such a banger. I love that you've mentioned that card. I'm going to set up the stream now.
We can talk about these decks for hours, honestly.
Hours. Yeah, I'm just going to quickly set up my card reader here for everybody during our game because the people will need the card reader. We maybe will not, but that looks like it's good enough for me. And let's jump over to our live game. Here we go, Brooksy.
Round 1.
You guys can see as well. Round 1, food mid-range versus food combo. I started straight away with it. This is a great start, by the way. It's just really firing on all cylinders with the fast bond into a duress.
Oh, I was salty about this too. So I had the mocks in hand. I had the turn 2 saga making constructs. This would have been a quick kill. And the deck was the hand I kept was pretty much all centered around the mocks and the saga. So yeah, having that turn 1 duress with fast bond as well just put me so far behind.
Yeah, duress is an interesting one. I didn't think it would be so potent, but I got really lucky there, I think.
We can already see that difference in mentality of reaction versus proactivity, and hitting that mox was huge.
Yeah, the mox was great. Now, you notice I only played 2 lands off my fast bond, which means I probably don't have much more, but we do have a Badger Mole Cub, which is a good one.
Yeah, fast bond didn't, obviously go off here, but it still allowed you to get ahead on the board, which was great.
Yeah, it's a bit of a... For me, fast bond is often just like a mox, like you pay the green and then you play a land, and you kind of like, you've got this... It's almost a mox at times, or even just like a Birds of Paradise, where it allows you to... It accrues a little bit of mana. Had I hit a land with that Badger Mole Cub, things would have gotten a lot better for me. But unfortunately, I did miss. But, we're still good. You're taking your time. You're surveilling. You're just going to, now that I haven't hit the land, you've got a bit more time. Tell me why you haven't cracked your Urza's Bauble.
Pretty much the only reason I haven't cracked it at this point in time is because of the Rotten Mouth Viper in hand. So I'm thinking, this could potentially mean that I can get Rotten Mouth Viper out a turn early, just by using it to sack the Bauble as an extra permanent. And also I'm on the Urza's Saga construct plan at this point in time. So having that extra 1 point of power and toughness may end up being the difference.
It does help. I can just hear myself complaining that I have 24 lands, which is a lot. Getting for 2, yeah, 24 is a lot of lands, but I think down comes Peregrine Took. This is a card I'm gonna get on the screen for everybody. Peregrine Took. I can get the showcase version, of course. Let's get the showcase. I'm a big fan of this version, specifically because it has Peregrine Took just kind of like holding the what is it called again? The Palantir. So cool.
Is he? He's holding the Palantir, is he?
I think he's cool. Yeah, he's hugging the Palantir. It's like during the book when he puts his hands on the Palantir and sees out. It looks like I did not hit my land drop, and now I'm in the tank as to how am I going to get here. I know you have the Urza Saga construct on the way, and it's terrifying.
Revealing the hand, not much going on there. There's the 3 cards you know about.
Yep. Down comes the Deathrat Shaman, so another mana dork. Notably, does not combo with Badger Mole Cub, but it is just a generically powerful card.
Yep. So you're valuing, not attacking with the Badger Mole Cub there, which is interesting. Yep. Possibly letting me trade, with the Urza Saga token there. I think that probably wouldn't have been a bad trade for you, honestly. But maybe you were thinking, I need this extra piece of mana, from the Earthbended Scrubland there. Yeah.
I think right now I have 3 mana. I believe there's a 1 ring in my hand as well. So this Deathrat Shaman represents the 4th mana to hopefully draw a land, which is why I'm kind of like crossing my fingers and not wanting to trade off the Badger Mole Cub, because then it just, you put me down to a bit less mana. But now you've made a construct, and these things get huge so quickly.
Yeah, especially with the extra bauble there.
Yeah, do we consider ourselves the best Urza Saga deck in the format?
Possibly. I mean, apart from just straight up bots, we've got a huge density of artifacts, or creatures that create artifacts as well.
Yeah, I think our deck sometimes looks a lot like bots, I must admit. Mine, not so much, but now, you've gone and fetched this Lava Spare Boots, and this is So
and
much
at this
damage.
point, you're probably thinking, "Oh shit, maybe I should have traded the Badger Mole for a construct token here, right?" And like, if you played the Scavenger's Talent earlier, you know, I probably don't even take that trait.
Yeah, I probably could have played the talent and then attacked with the cub as well and hoped to get in, but my hand is the Wandering and Farmer Cotton. So my goal here is to make some mana and then like play the Wandering, let it draw me into a combo, and then make as much mana as I can. I think is what my vibe was.
Yep.
But I'm on side, so now I'm in the spot where I need to do something. I've just played a Verdant Catacombs, and 10 to 13. So I'm almost dead. This is like a very swift clock for you, Brookesy. Had you been on the play, or had I not taken that mox, I'm probably down to maybe 2 life, or even having to chump with my creatures. So very dangerous.
That's the power of that duress. Like, it just absolutely warped this game.
Yeah, people don't put duress in their decks anymore. It's kind of the first thing they're going to take out. I mean, I've been looking at a more mid-range version of my deck, and I'm just kind of looking at duress like, do I need to play this card? But you know, food, I mean, we can just, as I search for a land, food quite regularly kind of folds to combo, right? That's at least been your experience. So probably why we didn't sleeve it up when Storm was like 6 points under what it should have been. And so Duress, Thoughtseizing, Inquisition, I was just kind of hoping that these cards would come up if I played against combo during this day, because this Rad Claus was a proxy-friendly event. I knew people were going to bring just like a bunch of combo decks. I knew people were going to bring like, you know, Storm and, you know, a bunch of different piles with combos where Thoughtseize would be powerful. But how do you feel playing against combo in mid-range?
It feels really bad. It's definitely one of the weaknesses of the deck. Yeah, I've got 0 tools against anything. Yeah, the only thing that I can do is maybe like play the One Ring and maybe not die on that turn and maybe kill them the following turn. But yeah, I have absolutely 0 interaction with combo whatsoever.
Yeah, and the sideboarding doesn't get better either, Rad, because you know, when you sideboard in when you side in, you know, a Force of Vigor and a Ashiok and an opposition agent, and these cards that kind of, even your Graph Digger's Cage, when you bring those cards into your deck, you're taking out cards that facilitate your main deck's plan, right? We're not just a deck of mid-range cards where we can swap out our weakest threat, or, you know, we can't just like, oh, well, I'm going to take out this, you know, I'm going to take out my generic 2-drop in my Grixis deck and put in this generic 3-drop hate piece that is better. We don't get to do that. You know, when we take out a Badger Mole Cub or a Springheart Nantuko, or like, you know, for example, you'd probably want to swap your Lava Spur Boots for a Graph Digger's Cage. Your deck gets a lot worse very quickly.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. There's a very obvious game plan for the decks. And if you're a heavy synergy deck like food is, if you start taking away some of those key pieces, it can really disrupt the balance in the deck.
Yep. Now, you have 4 mana. You've just done a very cool play. So Brookesy, over the course of this game, has been fetching forests, and then has fetched from the fetch lane. We have fetched Gingerbread Cabin, which is on the screen. Oh, yeah. Tell me about this card, Brookesy. You love this one.
Yeah, this was definitely like the main plan of the deck. Probably like a year and a half ago when I was playing it. You know, trying to get this fetch land that basically created this extra food token just out of nowhere. It's kind of like an onboard trick, similar to like Dryad Arbor, that people would be, you know, very familiar with. But yeah, being able to generate that additional food token every now and then can definitely be the difference between having enough food to combo off and not. Yeah, it's obviously a deck building restriction, having to, you know, try and fetch all of these forests. But I mean, it can sometimes pay off, as we see here. Like, these constructs are bloody huge.
Yeah. Right. Now, I'm in the tank here. March Fletch is the land for turn. I'm thinking about something. I think, now I have the mana I need. I think I'm considering some type of Farmer Cotton X is 1.
This is where we'll see Fastbond come into play here, I think.
Yeah, so we have Farmer Cotton, which is great, and it's X is 1, which I think we actually did. So X is 1, it'll enter, and we did it right. It's Farmer Cotton. So it's going to have us create X white halfling tokens and X food tokens. X is 1, but Peregrine Took says whenever you make any number of tokens, you also make an additional food. So I'm making a halfling and I'm making X foods and then the additional food. So 2 foods, 1 halfling in play, which is what we're looking at.
So
and
that's 1, 2, 3, 4 permanents for 3 mana. Not bad.
That's pretty good, and it does. The reason why is Brookesy has played a 1 ring, so Brookesy has protection. So the only way that I could kind of kill Brookesy is through protection, which is going to be a difficult thing to do. No. And I have essentially a turn. I could have maybe cast a huge Pharmacon and just been like, well, I'm on chopping duty for the next couple of turns. But you know, the 1 ring doesn't help me there, right? This 1 ring is slowly burning me. It's slowly burning you, and I think you're going to be up on that trade with your big creatures. But here's 3 mana, and here comes Experimental Confectioner. So tell me about the Experimental Confectioner combo. We have Peregrine Took and Confectioner in play. What happens here, Brookesy?
Yeah, so basically all you need is 3 food and both of these pieces in play, and it creates this loop where you can pretty much draw your entire deck while creating 1/1 rat tokens at the same time. You end up with the exact same food, but you just continue to generate a crap load of these rats. So yeah, you can pretty much draw your whole deck. You can play every single card or every single land that you want with the fast bond. Find the pieces that you need to get through the protection. Which how did you end up doing it this game by memory?
I think Cauldron Familiar allows me to go through here. Let's have a look.
So Cradle obviously allows you to generate 30, 50.
Yeah, I think I usually pick up, I think I picked up maybe 30 cards, I think, at the time. This looks at me, I pick up my whole deck here. So I probably have, we've just agreed that I have like 100 rats in play. So my green mana is near infinite. I could cast every card that has green in it right now. It's just colored mana that I don't have. And I do put aside the Cauldron Familiar there. So Cauldron Familiar has each opponent lose, it doesn't target, and it is loss of life. Which means where it can go through the 1 ring. It's not damage, and I also only have 3 lives, so I need to be extremely careful. What I think I do is I just play a Nuka-Cola vending machine out with my mana, play out all of these cards that cost essentially nothing, and then I eat a bunch of foods to gain a bunch of life. When I eat these foods, it's gonna make treasure tokens with the Nuka-Cola vending machine, which will also make the colored mana with Academy Manufactor, who sees the treasures being made. The Peregrine Took sees the trapped treasures being made, makes the additional food, and then Academy Manufacturer allows us to make additional treasures from Peregrine Took's ability. Which is
I think what we're pointing at now.
Yes, and I also just play the lands out from my hand as well. It was just more for life, but I just play all of that as redundancy in case I don't have the correct pips. But I think in this case, I do have the pips to play Cauldron Familiar, as well as the pips to play Umbral Collar Zealot and Samwise.
Yeah.
I play all of those and say
treasures now.
Yeah. Here's the combo. That's my whole thing, and that's that's essentially the combo. So through the 1 ring is pretty interesting. I mean, it is just the Cat Samwise combo, and that is just a finisher. Had I not had that, there's a number of other ways I could have gone through that. Usually making 50 rats and drawing 30 cards, and then just saying, hey, pass the turn, go. You usually can't beat that in food, and I know that. But this was just a way of kind of. I also, we're on coverage. We want to show off the combos and the back and forwards with our decks, but
yeah. Well, you also know that I have the combo as well in my deck, and there's no reason why I couldn't be able to also play my combo and take you out that way as well.
Yep.
So
True.
Yeah, definitely finding the line there, making sure that you complete the game and get the win on the board is important.
Yeah, agreed. And yes, I didn't cut the sideboarding because I did want to talk about sideboarding a bit with you. People quite often sideboard. I know everyone says, "Oh, everybody sideboards wrong against my deck," but people generally will say to me directly, "I don't know how to sideboard against food. What do I do?" Brookesy, yes. You're currently sideboarding against food now. Tell me, what are you cutting or what are you putting in to kind of shore up your game plan against my deck?
Yeah. So new card this year. which has been an absolute house for a lot of white decks, Clarion Conqueror. It definitely turns off some of my synergies, but it also turns off all of your mana dorks. So yeah, that card has been amazing. So that's probably the first card that comes in, and then also just bringing in a bit of hand disruption. So bringing in Thoughtseize, Inquisition, and also Oppo. Oppo, obviously everyone is everyone's fetching, everyone's trying to, get those fetch lands in play, and if you can even hit one fetch land with an Oppo, it's insane. Force of Vigor, I think I also bring in, which is huge. There's a lot of very strong artifacts and enchantments now that the decks both have, which taking out those is huge.
Yeah, agreed. I just slapped out my Force of Vigor there for a second. I also agree. Force of Vigor is a good one. You can like hit an Urza Saga with the make mana trigger on the stack to kind of like Stone Rain them, gobble up an Urza Saga, and then maybe like a food token as well, which is like a very good game plan. And yeah, I agree. Everything you said is right. I think I took out I think I just took out like just Duress on the draw. I know Duress was very good, but your deck's like 25 creatures. You quite often keep a hand with 4 creatures, 3 lands, and you're like, this is perfect. This is all I need to win. And so for me, Duress can come out. Inquisition and Thoughtseize are still very good cards to allow me to kind of break serve, kind of take out your big 2-drop or your big splashy 3-drop, because a lot of the time your deck playing out a 3-drop is often enough. And I think I just also brought in my Abrupt Decay from the sideboard because your creatures are all usually 3 mana, and Abrupt Decay just hits kind of everything. And yeah, nothing wrong with bringing in a removal spell, especially when we are both creature decks.
Yes, 100%. I think the reason why that last game didn't pan out the way I would have liked in that game is because I just didn't have any disruption at all, and you were able just to assemble the engine pieces to be able to do what you needed to do. Obviously I was still spending all of my mana every turn, which was great with Urza's Saga, but I know the power of assembling an engine that food is kind of built around. And not having any disruption there is huge. So yeah, the Abrupt Decay is just a great card to do everything that you want to be doing in this matchup.
Yeah, I do love an Abrupt Decay. I'm gonna just jump ahead just slightly so we can. We're happy with these. See, I think you mulligan to 6 here.
Yeah.
But I do see a Swords in your hand as well, which is a good one. Swords is just great, like banger card and very good in the food matchup specifically. Just being able to sort, you're on the play, you play your Asher Peth, I play mine, then you swords mine and attack, and it's you're just so far ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And turn 1, Gilded Goose. It doesn't feel better than this, does it?
Oh yeah, no, this is one of the best 1-drops that we can play. Having a goose on the play feels really good if you want to get to 3 mana. If you just want to, take the turn 2 off and just create another food, which is also really good. We love goose.
And I'm going to hit you with the same dork, a different type of dork, but a Noble Hierarch there.
Definitely prettier, that's for sure.
That is I paid a lot of money for this altar. It was a artist's altar signed card. It's really cool. But now you have a turn. You haven't made the food, but this is just casual Ariel. You've just said, yep, here's my food. There's Grist. Turn 2 Grist. That's a tough one to beat. And
Grist is great.
Yeah, this is why I bring in Abrupt Decay, right? This is I want to Abrupt Decay Grist immediately if I can, because my deck just can't get through Grist. I have very few creatures, if any, that can get Trample. I don't have a Campsite Cuisine. Getting to kill Grist, I've got a Swords in hand as well, so getting to kill Grist is not an easy feat.
Mm.
And you're milling
we don't really have any
push.
flyers. We don't. Yeah, I think Bright Glass is maybe the only card that you have that has Trample.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, by the time that Bright Glass comes down, Grist is going to have enough loyalty to be able to just take it out with one of these insect tokens.
Yeah, just having this removal spell on a creature feels so bad because I'm sitting here with the classic integral 3 mana on turn 2 that food loves to have, and I'm feeling pretty bad because I know whatever I play, I'm just gonna kill it. Like it's just dead,
Yeah.
Even my own
if you don't
grist.
play a threat, then I just create more tokens and more loyalty to be able to take out another threat later on.
Yeah. Great. So I'm kind of in the tank about what I should do. I think my decision point here was Tireless Provisioner versus Astrodpeth. Kind of deciding what I want to do. I know that you're probably going to kill whatever I play, if it was Astrodpeth or Tireless Provisioner. I think I wanted to protect Astrodpeth a little bit, knowing that you can kind of kill the first thing I get, and then I get a turn or two of reprieve. I decided that it would be the Astrodpeth that stays, and then obviously Tireless Provisioner needs to be killed. And if you don't kill Tireless Provisioner, I get to jump ahead in mana, which maybe allows me to combo off a little bit sooner.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see your hand. You had a swords in there as well. So it kind of the next two things. You can kind of just sit on Grist for as long as you want and just get this thing up to, ridiculous mana if you wanted to. You don't really need to play a fast game. You can just kind of sit here and chill out whilst holding up your swords.
Yes, 100%. And the power of that is that, I know that there are key pieces in a combo deck. Knowing the deck and knowing how it operates, I know exactly what this sword is needing to be pointed at. And it's definitely doesn't need to be pointed at this Provisioner, that's for sure.
No. Provisioner is an interesting card. I don't know how much I like it, but when it's good, it's great. So you are going to kill it. That's fine with me. And you've still got a Grist in play. Here's an Academy manufacturer as well, so it's just getting worse and worse. This card's a house.
Yes. I don't know any other deck in Highlander that is playing Academy manufacturer. But yeah, no, it's an absolute insane card in our lists, that's for sure.
Yep. Now I've got my Surveil land here, and I've surveilled a Tolarian Academy on top, so I'm thinking about it. I do leave it on top because it's Tolarian Academy. You can't not.
Yes, fair.
But yeah, that's very funny. Hold on, I must ban this person. Brendan, are you here?
Yeah, I'm on it, mate.
Yeah, thanks for banning that person. Appreciate it. Thanks, mate. And there's Astrodpeth making a Krabby Patty. And now, if you wanted to kill Astrodpeth, you need to sacrifice your Grist. So that is a 1-for-1 trade for me. Which I'm kind of happy with. Look at that surge foiling, Brookesy. So nice.
Oh, Jesus.
Look at that thing.
She deserves it too.
She is so good. This card is...
I might see if I can get an altar of her. I think she's just great.
I do. I actually think I have one being made at the moment by a friend. I think I got a friend. Big Jim's gonna whip me up. But there's a Ocelot Pride. We're in trouble. There's Lava Spur Boots. We're in trouble. Equip the Lava Spur Boots. I have to swords.
Yep.
Now I don't want a swords. I'd much rather swords Academy manufacture. But Ocelot Pride attacking this turn is, extremely problematic. Maybe not this turn. Like it is bad. But I feel like it was a decision point in the game. But you get to make a cat, then you get to make an insect, and then you get to make a copy of each of those tokens. I don't think I can ever come back from that. And Grist never dies, which is my problem. But here's another guild. Here's my Gilded Goose. This is a nice little foil Spanish one. I think it's Spanish that Felipe gave to me at the event to end all events. And here is my third food. I do have a lot of food tokens in play, Brookesy, so I'm doing something. And my Tolarian Academy has shot me up in mana really quickly. But I just how can I get through this Grist? It just doesn't feel like it's a thing I can actually do. I have all these game objects in play, but also notably, looks like I'm eating foods here to explore. And there's a free card draw from Astrodpeth. Don't mind if I do. Don't mind if I get a free card from my 2-mana creature.
We love that.
Yeah, the combo with Gilded Goose plus Astrodpeth is a really good one because Gilded Goose has you sack a food, which explores. Like that is an insane curve. I've often done, which is very interesting. I'm eating another food here, another explore, and there's an Nantuko on top. So this could be a card that gets me in front of, gets me around Grist here. I'm not sure if I should be keeping it though, because the cards I have available to make copies of aren't really that good.
Yeah, I mean, even just creating, suiting up the Astrodpeth, being able to just create an additional food every time, it's okay. But you'd probably throw it on the goose maybe, just so you can create, even more, food tokens.
Yeah, my thought was that it would go up on the Gilded Goose as to give Gilded Goose some power and toughness. Because then Gilded Goose attacks as a 2/3 with Exalted, which is an actual threat for Grist. So that was kind of what I was thinking. I think in hindsight, I should just like try and dig for my combo as soon as I can, and just like obviously I'm gonna lose to swords, but maybe there's a world where I can sneak in a combo or sneak in more in my deck. But you're just going. I think you're going up with Grist here, and you're just like, yep, you have to attack my Grist every time. Hiring Conqueror goes to the graveyard, so a good. That does just slam the door shut on every card in my deck right now. So
yeah. Does turn off Grist, obviously, but it does basically hit every single card that you have on the board as well.
yeah, it's an interesting card in this matchup. I'm glad we didn't play it because it would have slowed this game down to a crawl. And yeah, I think I'm gonna leave this Nantuko up. I always had the option of I am now thinking about this Nantuko and whether or not it was worth playing. But I am going to suit up this bird. And yeah, my thought was, if I can get to, you're not going to block with this Gilded Goose, right? Because you're clearly holding up multiple activations of it. So my thought was attack with Gilded Goose, Exalted trigger, and now I'm attacking Grist for 2, which obviously feels bad, but also, if you're trading Gilded Goose, that's a 1-for-1 trade where I'm out on top. If you're taking 2 on Grist, it means that when you activate Grist, you lose it, and then I'm kind of at this point where I have some semblance of control of the board. That being said, you do have Academy Manufacturer and Gilded Goose in play, which is a very, very strong combo. So both of us are kind of vying for some type of board control, and this entire game revolves around Grist. Bloody Grist.
Grist metagame.
Yeah, that is so good.
Yeah, I've obviously got the swords in hand, and I'm thinking, do I throw it out here? Like, this is, Grist is kind of doing, really good things at the moment. And yeah, I definitely don't want to have to point it at a goose. That's for sure.
Agreed. This is another decision point here. Scavenger's Talent on top. I did play a card wrong, and I did the Explore trigger and then realized what I'd done. So I don't actually go for the Scavenger's Talent. That's interesting. In hindsight, I think Scavenger's Talent could be pretty good here. Fetch a land.
Leveled it up all the way.
Yeah, fetch a land, make it fetch a land, make a Gilded Goose, level up all the way, and then return Tireless Provisioner into play. Could have been a good play as well, because you sack a bunch of game objects, and sacking all of those foods triggers Astrodpeth's Explores. So you sacrifice 3 non-land permanents to the ultimate of Scavenger's Talent. You get 3 Explore triggers, and then you get to bring back your Tireless Provisioner, which with fast 1 in play goes pretty crazy if I have a fetch land. Interesting decision point here for me. I think in my mind I was very focused on I could have even been milling you as well, which would have been interesting, right? I could have milled you for 6 cards when the ultimate triggers, which is like that's a pretty swift clock. Wow, Scavenger's Talent does look a lot better in this board. So maybe that's a punt on my end.
Yeah, so I've just done a goose activation here.
Yeah, look at this.
One of everything with the Academy Manufacturer, which felt great.
This is why I always tell people that our deck is very good into mid-range games, because you just making those 3 game objects is pretty hard to come back from. You've essentially made yourself a card, a mana, and just a food, which is also the most important part of our deck.
I mean, imagine if Ocelot was still out. If you hadn't used the swords there. This game is just over.
Yep, this game is very over. Yeah. What a board state. Now, you only have 2 cards, but, the card advantage from Academy Manufacturer is going to start seeping in. Here's a Sorin of House Markov. This is a bang. Let me get this up.
Oh, yeah.
The Sorin is a fun little card that says, if you've gained 3 life in a turn, you get to flip him. And beautiful thing about Soren and is that gaining 3 life is what a food token does.
Funny how that works.
Yeah. I'm in strife here for sure. Gonna eat the food, and I think we're gonna be seeing a flipping of Soren. So I'll just get the back end up for everybody watching. Soren Ravenous Neonate is. This isn't yet another planeswalker for me to deal with, and I'm seeing the writing on the wall now because that's. I don't know how I get through multiple. Well, interesting. I don't know if Soren was your draw for turn, but if I'd played that Scavenger's Talent, you would have milled it. Genius plan.
Oof.
No, this is cool. Soren is a very cool card that I don't register because sometimes it feels really bad, and then sometimes like exactly now it's amazing. Like I'm gonna lightning bolt your Gilded Goose. That's my planeswalker activation is lightning bolt, and that's like the floor of it, right? The ceiling of it is eat 10 foods and just hit you for 30. Wow.
I'm milling some strong cards there. Like Nantuko on the Gilded Goose there would have been insane as well at this point with the manufacturer in play.
Yeah, you could even Nantuko the manufacturer. Make a copy of that and then activate Gilded Goose. Does that work?
I don't think so.
Doesn't work.
No, I think you still only get one of each.
Okay, well, lucky you didn't do that. No, that would be a bit of a punt if you. Says that's something I would do. You know, I would do that, and then someone would be like, "Yep, that doesn't work, but I'll let you do it," and then I get an extra power and toughness. But 2 planeswalkers, Brookesy. This is the fundamental mid-range version of food that I think is so hard to beat.
Yep. Yeah, especially without the flyer now, and not being able to pressure either of them. Yeah, and now I've got the two grist tokens there ready to go. Yeah, I'm happy to chump block.
We're having to attack Soren here as well, so not feeling too good about having to attack Soren.
Well, yeah, you just can't get through now at this point, and every single there's a good card. And yeah, every single turn is 2 activations of these insane planeswalkers.
Yeah, I know. It's about India says that we do get the all of the tokens. If you would create a food, instead create one of those each. Multiple replacement effects on top. We need a judge in this. I'm not sure how it works, to be honest.
Yeah, that's definitely something you need to know how that works if you're going to play this deck, is how replacement effects work. Because yeah, I think in the video that you had on stream at the event to end all events, there was a couple of times where you created some tokens and you asked a judge and they were like, yep, that's how it works. And then I think you maybe didn't ask the other way. I think
yeah,
that's what happened.
Yeah, that was I did ask about, like, I had multiple replacement effects in play, and I said, what happens if I do it this way? And they were like, well, when you do it this way, you make this and this. And I was like, great. If I do it the other way, is it good? Or is it good for me? And they kind of like shrugged. And I was like, and then I kind of answered the question for them, and they just killed my Astropeth. How dare you? Yeah, it was. You got to be very specific about the way you ask your questions, and yeah, knowing your replacement effects is true. I usually put myself in the mind now that I've been through that experience of asking a judge a weird question. I'm in this mindset of just putting my replacement effects in play, calling a judge and asking, what is the outcome when I layer it like this? What is the outcome when I layer it like that? Because it's just very easy to. We have so many replacement effects in this deck that it's just so easy to forget how to interact, despite having resolved them together a million times. Sometimes 100%. you mix them up and you think, okay, I make this and this, and then you go back and you think about it and you're like, no, actually I was wrong. You know, I was cheating, or I was not getting what I should have. So just call a judge every time. In this case, we have no Spring Hunt, Antigo, Academy Manufacturer things in play, but we do have a Guide of Souls. And I only have like a bunch of little dingy dorks to play with, so. See.
Yeah, the 1-2 stat line, not bad here.
Oh yeah. I'm just gonna slam dunk my Hazel's Brewmaster here.
Yeah, I mean, like if you had a mum in play, a mum in the graveyard, or like Giver in the graveyard here, you might have actually been able to get through the board. What did you take there? What is that?
That's Gilded Goose, yeah. I think you're going to respond to the trigger though. So I'm targeting Gilded Goose, and then you're going to respond by cracking your treasure and swordsing it. And I pick up my cards. Yeah, you say swords, and I just pick up my cards. Indigo does say that we actually get a bunch of treasures from a cave manufacturer, so that's good. Thank you. And definitely, yes. I always call the judge and say, "What is the exact number?" And I always forget. But yeah, game 2, Swift to you. I would say that whole game revolved around Grist. How'd you feel? Feeling good now? 1-1.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
And yeah, that game did revolve entirely around Grist. It was insane.
Yeah, Grist is
killable planeswalker.
It's funny how sometimes against some decks, one insect a turn is just impossible to beat. And here you go, Beseiju into a Gilded Goose.
Looks familiar.
Yep, I think we've seen this before.
You've got a good hand though. There's some really powerful cards in there.
Yep, yeah, you're right.
This card's great.
Love Binary Mentor. It's a 3/2 that kind of gets in. Get it back on the screen, but Binary Mentor is so good. And you're going to play your land. I wonder what you're going to do, Brookesy. You would never play Grist against me 2 games in a row on turn 2 in our singleton format. No, Brookesy, you're a man of culture. This is like a Peregrine Took or something. This is something that I can deal with on the board. That's going to allow us to play a nice brisk game of Magic.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah. You could not have tapped those lands faster for your Grist again. And I've taken your food. I get it now. That's how that works.
How rude.
Yeah. Grist again. FML. My Binary Mentor is in trouble, and I am kind of a bit sad.
I've forgotten to mill, it looks like.
Yeah, that's alright. What am I doing? I think in my mind Urza Saga is the play, but yeah, there's my nice secret layer Urza Saga, and then here's Grist, attack, block.
Is that an upkeep expedition map, or?
No, I think I just main faced it.
Yeah.
I think my thought process with expedition map is if I draw the Urza Saga, I get to go get Tolarian Academy, so it's kind of like, it's always good for me, you know?
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, at least now you've got the Vine Root Mentor pressuring the Grist every turn. If you can, play other threats as well on top of that, that's great.
Agreed. I think for me it represents the Urza Saga represents the multiple creatures out of one land, which is what I'm trying to do. And it also facilitates a Tolarian Academy. But you've got a Guide of Souls, which is also a very good card that a lot of people underestimate in food specifically. I'm going to Guide of Souls because I'm not playing Guide of Souls.
Yeah, Guide of Souls is, I think, just one of the, it's, it completely warped the modern archetype, when it came out in Modern Horizons 3, and it's just an absolute house in this deck. There's heaps of tokens that we're making, so, being able to generate all of this food, all this life and all of this, energy is insane. And just the evasion as well is just super powerful.
Yeah, a really cool turn for you as well. I think being able to double spell is a very important part of Highlander at the moment. Like being able to cast 2 spells a turn, and being able on your turn 3 to play Guide of Souls and then Binary Mentor means you've just created a wider board than me, and now you have this pressure from, and the 3/2 stat line on Binary Mentor comes up when you put 2 counters on it from a Guide of Souls. This little board state, this engine of Guide of Souls plus Grist, I mean, all of these cards are just coming together really well for you, as you can see. And on my side, not so much. I will say I do have a Tolarian Academy and Urza Saga in play, so I do have a little bit of I got an inevitability, and so do you now with Experimental Confectioner. So this is going to be a good one, and it's just a neat little card,
Yeah, not the strongest card in the deck. It's definitely one of those cards that is quite weak on its own, but obviously it's the B of the combo. So it kind of has to be in there. It's not a great way to. It's not a great turn 3 play, that's for sure. But it's okay.
Yeah, you don't want to be playing it. And there's grist value, milling, and mental misstep. That's great. And there's your next energy. There's your life. I mean, you're definitely building up a board state. And I love this play here. Attack with Mind Root Mentor. Put my counters on it. Attack you for 5 in the air. Like,
yeah, whack.
Just crazy. I remember.
There's no pressure.
Yeah, this Mind Root Mentor reads so. It's so like you don't really understand the power of Rad Nauseam until it's resolved against you, because if I kill this thing, like, you just get more value. It comes in, makes your food, and then you just get more. It's just crazy. But now I get to do a little bit of unfair gaming now with my construct made. My academy now taps for 2, and my Urza Saga will let me go get another thing. So I can start doing some pretty crazy things with my deck. Looks like I'm making another construct. So I've got a bunch of 4/4s in play once I go get my... I'm just thinking about whether I use Academy or my solid pips. And I think Academy... This is a great example of Academy. Just like, you don't really need the blue mana. It's paying for Urza Saga. And then I'm going to go get my Candelabra, which, you guessed it, it's going to go untap my Tilion Academy to let me make 4 mana. So I have kind of 5 mana here on my turn 4. Is pretty good.
Just quick question. Do you think that if you had boots in this situation, in your deck, you would go and get the boots and use that to pressure the grist and the rest of my board?
Well, I know my hand is... I know that in my hand I have... I guess it's interesting. I think I probably maybe would have... I feel like you're very happy to just chump for days with grist, like, you know, chump with an insect and your Gilded Goose, and then down tick your grist to sack your Mind Root Mentor to kill my other construct and kind of take out those 2 cards. I feel like maybe that's what you do. The candle does come up a lot here as my, like, you know, look at all this mana I can make. I'm not sure. It's an interesting question, but here's the Manufacturer, which is just like one of the great cards. And now I'm in this weird spot where I have... Yeah, I'm thinking about this boots question a bit more. I feel like I still get Candle just because of how much mana Academy's making.
Yep.
And here's our Peregrine Took. So with the 1 mana floating, I'm able to play Academy Manufacturer and Peregrine Took. So if I did make a single food here, things would get out of control for you very quickly, right?
Oh yeah.
Like I'm setting up for this huge next turn. My Tilion Academy, that's for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 maybe, 5 currently. Tilion Academy test for 5 plus untap with Candle. I have all the pips I need. I have a Peregrine Took in play, so next time I make a food, and as spoiler alert, I also have a Farmer Cotton in hand. So Farmer Cotton is an X spell that lets me make this huge amount of creatures, and also makes me clues and treasures, and allows Academy to tap for a billion mana. So
no attack here.
No attack here. I know that if I just know that you're gonna chump. I guess I could have attacked, but it's interesting. I feel like if I do attack, I might die on the backswing. Like, you would have to jump through some pretty crazy hoops, and have to do a bunch of chaining of spells together to even kill me from 11 life if I have grounded chumpers. Because in my mind, you're gonna maybe make enough creatures to make your Guide of Souls big, or your Experimental Convection big, and you're attacking me for like, what is that, like 8 or 9 in the air, and that's kind of all you're gonna hit me for. Yeah, I thought I had maybe just one more turn with this Farmer Cotton in hand, which would allow me to eat 30 foods or something.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll see what happens. This is an interesting line. I think you do spend some time deliberating on the way that you take this turn, because this is where the deck gets very difficult to play. You have essentially, like, you know, 10 or 15 different options with the cards in your hand and the creatures in play. Whether you uptick or downtick grist, what creature you should give, you know, you know, do you want to sit back and defend your grist with Mind Root Mentor? Do you want to attack me and try and kill me this turn? There's a lot of decision points here, so tell me, what are you thinking right now, apart from, like, I need to kill this guy right now?
Yeah. So I mean, I've got 5 in the air with the Vine Reap Mentor. So realistically, you're at 6. So I'm trying to figure out how do I get an extra 6 points of damage through. And at this point, I'm only on the 1 energy. So creating 2 more energy here is it's not difficult, especially with the grist. But I'm just looking for those extra 5 points of damage at this point in time. If I can jump something else, that definitely will help. But then, I've only my other strongest card on the board at the moment is a 2/3. So if with the +2 counters, that's 4 damage. So I'm close. I'm only a few points away, but where do those last few points come?
Yeah, we've just hit time in the round as well, so we are nearing the end. But I think both you and I are at this point where it's gonna be interesting. This is a cool line. You're still thinking, but we're at time in the round now, so we can think as much as we want. Have what we need, and it looks like you are going to make your food here. Interesting. I'm watching this back now, and it's coming back to me. Must be a banger in your in your hand here now that you've thought about it so much.
Yeah. I mean, I know that you're on a low life total, and spoiler alert: the card in my hand is the there it was there, the Rottenmouth Viper. So I'm thinking about how do I get this card into play to try and either get rid of some of your resources on the board, or get rid of your hand, or force you to lose the 4 life. So here I've tapped 2, and then I've sacked 4 permanents. So that's the 6 mana that I need.
Yep. You also get to make 2 rats.
Also make 2 rats, which is the crucial thing here.
There's bonkers with Grist's ultimate as well.
Yep. This is
5 in the air. We're trying to count to 6, and
yeah. So yeah, Rottenmouth Viper ETBs. We get an extra energy. We're at 25 life. Rottenmouth comes in. First blight counter enters. I have to discard a card. Yeah, or sacrifice a non-land permanent as well. Yeah, but I think I just sack this Scavenger's Talent because my plan next turn is to make a 20/20 Farmer Cotton tap. But here you go. So you've got your energy. Dump your energy into Experimental Confectioner, and now we're attacking for 9 here. I go to 2, and then you're gonna spin this dice and say, "Hey, remember that Gilded Goose I just sacrificed, and that Death Rat Charm and that Grist milled? By the way, that's 2 damage." And I flick down my Farmer Cotton like, "Damn, I wish I had a turn." No, this is that was the coolest line ever, which is why I like to talk about it. That was just such a great way to close out the game because it's just style points at that point, right? It's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, to generate the extra creatures entering play to get the energy counters, and also get the goose into the graveyard at the same time. It was sick.
Yeah, that's it. And it shows how reps on this deck can really allow you to, like, that's 11 damage. There's a lot of damage. It's your turn 5 or turn 6. Like, no, I wasn't making it easy for you. I was attacking you and trying to get into your grist. It wasn't like game 2. That was a much harder win. And I was threatening a lot. I was threatening to turn the game around very quickly after that. So, very nice, Brookesy. I've got your deck back on screen. Any final words you want to talk about, or anything about that game you want to discuss? Do you want to try and sell this deck to people?
I mean, I think that that first game that we played, I think just going back to the life totals when you killed me, when you comboed, I think you were only on 7. I think before you started that turn. I mean, the Mox there and the duress on that Mox just completely warps that game. And people aren't really paying points for Moxes at the moment, and I think that is just because of the price. they're still insanely powerful. They're obviously really susceptible to a lot of the hate that's out there for the breach players and the everyone who's hating on Storm at the moment, but it can still do a lot of work.
I agree, and that was a very cool part of the the proxy friendly event that we had, is where we get to see cards like Mox. There was a lot of Time Walks that were sleeved up, Recalls, Black Lotuses. Very cool to see, and I'm just glad, Brookesy, that you of all people have decided at this proxy friendly event where you can bring any deck in the format, you bring Abzan Food Midrange, and then you show me how it's done in our first ever match. I could not be happier losing to this deck. It's just like very wholesome for me to lose to a deck like this, because like I know all the cards, you know all the cards, we know what we're here to do. We're just gonna slug it out.
I mean, imagine if we were playing against someone who had to read literally every card that we had to play there. We wouldn't have gotten 3 games done in that time there, right?
Yeah, it's hard sometimes. Especially, I love when someone reads a card like Banquet Guests or Farmer Cotton and goes, "Wait, what? Like, this card's ridiculous. Like, what do you mean it's an X spell that makes a creature for each mana you pay into X and also foods? Like, what? Who designed this?" And you're like, "Yeah, Lord of the Rings Commander."
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, those commander decks had some absolute insane cards for this archetype. Not even playing the hobbits as well. I've definitely thought about having them in there, but they've definitely just felt not powerful enough to deal with the Barragoyfs of the world. When I was playing it a year ago, Barragoyf was everywhere, Nethergoyf was everywhere. Or what is that? Is that the 1 mana one? I can't even remember now. And that's why the removal suite is there to deal with those cards, so you don't just die. There's enough removal there. It's got no interaction against combo apart from the ring and misstep. It's a hell of a lot of fun to play, and we didn't even get to see some of the best cards, that have come out recently, like Stridehanger Automaton. There is an absolute house. Springheart Nantuku is insane if you're copying these insane cards, and Banquet Guests can be an absolute house. We didn't see Campsite Cuisine in that game, but there was definitely games that I played that day where Campsite was absolutely insane. It's a fun deck. Give it a go. Sleeve it up.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. And I appreciate you coming down to talk food with us. I hope that we get more games of food, because a lot of people, like, as much as we talk about food, there's not a lot of actual coverage of the deck in place. A lot of people don't really understand how the deck wins, but hopefully this has been a bit of a masterclass on the archetype with Brookesy here. Thanks again for coming out and watching our match. I can't wait to fight you more on our decks.
Yes, me too.